Shalom, shalom, everybody. I am your brew, Ban Shemayim, for those who don't know. That's me, and I'm back with another one. Today, we're going back into some reaction videos. This first reaction video is going to be about portals, right? We're going to be talking about portals. Let's get into it without further ado. Gathering of Christ had made this video right here,
folks,
where they play. This is at A Gathering 144. They made this video where they have a clip of NASA. Free use, y'all. Free use. Free use. They made this video where they have a clip of NASA describing some things about portals. And then I wanted to go into where was it? The Book of Enoch as well. We're gonna go into the Book of Enoch right after this one to go into the portals, because I was talking to a cousin and he was describing, how we knew that the sun, the earth goes around the sun, and I was like, I don't know if I believe that. The Bible says something differently. I don't believe that actually. So this is proof to further scientifically scientifical evidence to go with the scriptural proof that I've already had to cover these beliefs about the portals, right? So without further ado, let's get into it. Thawada, thank Gathering of Christ for finding this clip. Free use, free use. Let's get it.
they're not in space trying to find Mars. Here's a clip from NASA, fair use for educational purposes. You thought they were in NASA, that NASA was trying to go out and find water on Mars. Folks, there is no planets out there. It's all a lie. Even the blatant nonsense to claim that people were jumping up on the moon and all that stuff, when the moon moved through portals. The real reason that there's a space program is to defy Christ and God and get a military out into the sides of the north to war against the celestial, our God. That's the real reason for NASA and the Pentagon. It's a religious apparatus of Satan.
And we gonna get into this. We gonna get into the war that's gonna happen when Christ come back and the nations go into him. I've been trying to refine those scriptures. I might just have to go through my I got so many old notebooks, but I'm gonna have to find those scriptures so we can make a video on that. All right, so let's keep it going.
Satan's government. Fair use. I'm going to show you their real objective right here.
Fair use, fair use.
Fair use.
Hidden Magnetic Portals Around Earth. Presented by Science at NASA. A favorite theme of science fiction is the portal, an extraordinary opening in space or time that connects travelers to distant realms. A good portal is a shortcut, a guide, a door into the unknown. If only they actually existed. It turns out that they do, sort of. And a NASA-funded researcher at the University of Iowa has figured out how to find them. We call them X-points, or electron diffusion regions, explains plasma physicist Jack Scudder of the University of Iowa. They're places where the magnetic field of Earth connects to the magnetic field of the Sun, creating an uninterrupted path leading from our own planet to the Sun's atmosphere 93 million miles away. Observations by NASA's Themis spacecraft and Europe's cluster probes suggest that these magnetic portals open and close dozens of times each day. They're typically located a few tens of thousands of kilometers from Earth, where the geomagnetic field meets the onrushing solar wind. Most portals are small and short-lived. Others are yawning, vast, and sustained. Energetic particles can flow through the openings, heating Earth's upper atmosphere, sparking geomagnetic storms, and igniting bright polar auroras. NASA is planning a mission called MMS.
What's so crazy is there's a movie, man, called the His Dark Materials. Eh, a matter of fact, I'm gonna do a review of the movie, so I'm gonna give y'all a chance to go watch it. It's called His Dark Materials. It's a blasphemous movie. I don't want to ruin it for y'all though. But during His Dark Materials, they found these through the auroras in the north. They found these like gateways to go to these other worlds, right? Portals. So y'all should watch that movie. I'm gonna do a review on here of that movie because it's super blasphemous and it kind of shows what the world thinks about God, right? So let's keep it going.
Short for Magnetospheric Multiscale Mission, due to launch in 2014 to study the phenomenon. Bristling with energetic particle detectors and magnetic sensors, the 4 spacecraft of MMS will spread out in Earth's magnetosphere and surround the portals to observe how they work. Just one problem: finding them. Magnetic portals are invisible, unstable, and elusive. They open and close without warning, and there are no signposts to guide us in, notes Scudder. Actually, there are signposts, and Scudder has found them. Portals form via the process of magnetic reconnection. Mingling lines of magnetic force from the Sun and Earth crisscross and join to create the openings. X points are where the crisscross takes place. The sudden joining of magnetic fields can propel jets of charged particles from the X point, creating an electron diffusion region. To learn how to pinpoint these events, Scudder looked at data from a space probe that orbited Earth more than 10 years ago. In the late 1990s, NASA's Polar spacecraft spent years in Earth's magnetosphere, explains Scudder, and it encountered many X-points during its mission. Because Polar carried sensors similar to those of MMS, Scudder decided to see how an X-point looked to Polar. Using Polar data, we have found 5 simple combinations of magnetic field and energetic particle measurements that tell us when we've come across an X-point or an electron diffusion region. A single spacecraft, properly instrumented,
Fair use, Shaw. Fair use.
can make these measurements. This means that a single member of the MMS constellation, using the diagnostics, can find a portal and alert other members of the constellation. Mission planners long thought that MMS might have to spend a year or so learning to find portals before it could study them. Scudder's work shortcuts the process, allowing MMS to get to work without delay. It's a shortcut worthy of the best portals of fiction. Only this time, the portals are real. And with the new signposts, we know how to find them. For a portal to...
Let me show y'all something, folks. Let me show you something.
All right, so that's it. I wanted to go into the book of Enoch next. So this shows that they not only know about the portals, but they measure them. And the portals, like at least what it was showing in that video, are outside the Earth's atmosphere, or in what we would call space, right? So let's get into the book of Enoch, chapter 72, right? It says, the book of the courses of the luminaries. This is the R.H. Charles Oxford, the Clarendon Press, right? Excuse me. It says, the book of the course of the luminaries of heaven and the relationship of each, according to their classes, their dominions, and their seasons, according to their names and places of origin, and according to their months, which Uriel, the holy angel, who was with me, who is their guide, showed me, and he showed me all their laws exactly as they are, and how it is with regard to all of the years of the world, and unto eternity, till new creation is accomplished, which dureth till eternity. So it's pretty much saying to the new heaven and the new earth, right? Where there's no longer a time countdown, right? To where everything is eternity. It's for eternity. And it says, and this is the first law of the luminaries. The luminary, the sun, has its rising in the eastern portals of heaven, and its setting in the western portals of heaven. Right? And it mentions books that would I other books that prove this point. I'm assuming that's what this is for, right? Which is Psalms 104:19, Ecclesiastes 1 and 5, and Ben Sirach 4:1 through 5. And it says, "And I saw portals in which the sun rises, and 6 portals in which the sun sets, and the moon rises and sets in these portals. And the leaders of the stars, and those whom they lead, 6 in the east and 6 in the west, all following each other in accurately corresponding order. Also, many windows to the right and to the left of these portals. And first there goes forth the great luminary named the sun. In his circumference is like the circumference of heaven, and he is quite filled with illuminating and heating fire. It says the chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, and the sun goes. And notice they said solar wind, right? They mentioned solar wind in the video. So that's pretty interesting because it contradicts what they say when they say heaven is the space is a vacuum if there's winds, right? It says the chariot on which he ascends, the wind drives, the sun goes down from the heaven and returns through the north in order to reach the east, and is guided that he comes to the appropriate lit that portal and shines in the face of heaven. It says, in this way he rises in the first month in the great portal, which is the fourth. Those 6 portals in the cast. So it's talking about the you know how throughout the seasons the sun changes. Not it don't it still goes in the east and the west, but it changes his duration of how long it's gonna stay up, right? So this is what it's talking about. And in the fourth portal, from which the sun rises in the first month, are 12 window openings, from which proceeded a flame when they are open in their season. When the sun rises in heaven, he comes forth, that fourth portal 30 mornings in succession. So it goes to the first portal 30 mornings in succession. That's why we count our months starting from March when we have the first day of the year is normally in March. We count it 30 days, 30 days, 31. 30 days, 30 days, 31. 30 days, 30 days, 31, and so on until we get the 364-day year. It says, when the sun rises in the heaven, he comes forth through that fourth portal 30 mornings in succession. It threw me off because it says portal 30, and then it has the comma. So the comma makes you pause, right? But then it says mornings in succession. So it probably should have just said 30 portals. I mean, fourth portal, and then had the comma, and then said 30 mornings in succession. It sets accurately in the fourth portal in the west of heaven. And during this period of the day, it says during this period, the day becomes long. It says the day becomes daily longer, and the night nightly shorter to the 13th morning, or to the 30th morning, right? So it's talking about this is spring. We know in March, when the new year starts, it's pretty much the springtime, right? So after a month, we know the whole time during March, the sun is getting, it's leaving winter. So you get more sun, it's getting warmer and warmer, right? It says, on that day, the day is longer than the night by a ninth part. The day amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the night to 8 parts. It says, and the sun rises from that fourth portal and sets in the fourth and returns to the fifth portal of the east 30 mornings, right? So it's saying now it's going through the fifth portal of the east 30 mornings and rises from it and sets in the fifth portal. And then the days become longer by 2 parts, and the amounts to 11 parts. and the night becomes shorter and amounts to 7 parts, right? And it returns to the east and enters into the sixth portal, and rises and sets in the sixth portal 1 in 30 mornings on the account of its sign. So this is it going through the seasons, right? On that day, the day becomes longer than the night, and the day becomes double the night, and the day becomes 12 parts, and the night shortened and becomes 6 parts, right? Because they were counting the parts not as 24 hours, but as parts, which was 18 parts in a day versus what we would count. So when it had 9 verse 9, or when it gets to 9 verse 9, that's when it's half and half, right? And when 30 mornings are accomplished, the day decreases by exactly 1 part and becomes 11 part in the night 7. And the sun goes down forth from that sixth portal in the west and goes to the east and rises in the fifth portal for 30 mornings and sets in the west again in the fifth western portal. On that day, the day decreases by 2 parts and amounts to 10 parts, in the night to 8 parts, right? So it says now that the day is decreased by 2 parts. So now it's only 10 parts and the night's 8 parts. So we're getting towards the fall time, right? And the sun goes forth from the fifth portal and sets in the fifth portal of the west and rises in the fourth portal for 1 in 30. It says for 1 in 30 mornings on the account of its sign and sets in the west. On that day, the day is equalized with the night and it becomes of equal length. And the night amounts to 9 parts, in the day to 9 parts. So now it's perfectly equal, right? And the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west and returns to the east and rises 30 mornings. In the third portal sets in the west in the third portal, and on that day the night becomes longer than the day, and the night becomes longer than the night, and the day shorter than the day till the 13th morning. And the night amounts exactly to 10 parts, and the day to 8 parts. So now we're entering into the cooler parts of the year, because now the night is longer, than you get more darkness than you get sunlight, right? And the sun rises from that third portal and sets in the third portal in the west and returns to the east. And for 30 morning rises in the second portal in the east, in like manner sets in the second portal in the west of heaven. And on that day, the night amounts to 11 parts, in the day to 7. Right? So now we're getting back to the winter where it's almost about to come into the spring again, right? And the sun rises on that day from the second portal and sets up in the west in the second portal and returns to the east into the first portal for 1 in 30 mornings and sets in the first portal in the west of heaven. And on that day the night becomes longer and amounts to double of the day, and the night amounts exactly to 12 parts, in the day to 6, right? And the sun has therewith traversed the divisions of his orbit, and turns again on those divisions of his orbits, and enters that portal 30 mornings, and sets also in the west opposite to it. And on that night has the night decreased in length by 9 parts, and the night has become 11, by a ninth part, and the night has become 11 parts in the day 7. So now you're getting a turnaround. Now we get into where it's becoming more, the nights are getting lessened and the days becoming longer, right? It says the sun has returned and entered into the second portal in the east and returns those his divisions of his orbits for 30 mornings, rising and setting. And on that day the night decreases in length, and the night amounts to 10 parts, in the day to 8. And on that day the sun rises from that portal and sets in the west and returns to the east, and rises in the third portal for 1 in 30 mornings. and sets in the west of heaven. On that day the night decreases and amounts to 9 parts, in the day to 9 parts, in the night 33 is equal to the day, and the year is exactly as its days, 364. And that's why we celebrate the 364-day calendar, right? Now this is going to go into the moon, which uses similar portals, but it's not on the same schedule, and that's why we don't follow the moon calendar. All right, so with that, if y'all want me to go into more about the portals and the orbits of the suns and the moon, the sun and the moon, and everything like that, let me know in the comment, and we could go further into that. Without further ado, that is going to be the end of the lesson. So if y'all want to hop in the comments and talk about this, let's do it, because I would like to know, what do y'all think? Do y'all follow the 364-day calendar that God gave, or do you follow the 365 and a quarter days calendar that man has given you? The Gregorian calendar, I believe is what it's called. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know if y'all want to go further into this. Do y'all believe in the portals? Do you believe in the sun rotating around, or the earth rotating around the sun? Let me know what you believe in the comments. Let's go into it, right? So without further ado, I just want to say, whether you liked the video or you didn't, hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. I'm going to start doing shorts more too. If you haven't subscribed already, subscribe. And let's hop in the comments and talk about this. So I just want to say Thawada, which means thank you. Barakatah, which means bless you. Kaula Haya by Shimei, which is all praises to the Most High in the name of His Son. Wawarak Kodash, right? In the Holy Spirit. And I just want to say, like I say, thank you again for tuning in. If you, I'm gonna try to get some shirts with fringes. Let me know in the comments if y'all want shirts with fringes and different things like that. Cause I've been talking to a person about it. Cause I've been interested in getting them, but I've been going through a tough time, so I haven't been able to actually afford it. But I was thinking about linking up with a person who does it as a business. So let me know if y'all would like things like that, or the meat trees, the little head wraps and anything. And I could probably get those listed soon. So on that note, I just want to say Thawada, which is thank you, and Barakatah. Barakatah. Until next time, peace out, y'all. Peace.